I guess I'm speaking about myself in a confession. I fell in love with Paul rather than Jesus. I spent more time studying the writings of Paul than the writings of Jesus. I began to quote Paul more than Jesus. My God shall supply all of my needs. He who began a good work in you, he will bring it to completion. It is more blessed to give than receive. That's what Paul said, not Jesus. Paul was quoting Jesus, but he quoted differently, and we quote Paul rather than what Jesus said. I'm getting to a point here. Let me warn you about Paul. I want to warn you about Paul. Now, Paul is a very, and probably the most important apostolic authority in church doctrine. More important than Peter or James, John. These were the three pastors of the church in Rome, in Jerusalem rather. Peter, James, and John were the three top guys that Jesus left in charge. And Peter, of course, was the senior pastor. But they didn't talk much about doctrine. Peter didn't talk much about, correcting problems and dealing with issues. When you read Paul, you must be careful. I'm trying to choose my words carefully because I'm dealing with tender minds. When you read Paul, you must be careful because Paul's writings are not necessarily writings to communicate the gospel. When you read Paul's writings, and Paul's writings include 1st and 2nd Corinthians, Colossians, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Timothy, Titus, Thessalonians, Philemon. These writings are not intended to teach you about the gospel. It's very important. These writings, if you study Paul's writings, 80% or more of them were written to address problems that the people who were already in the kingdom were having. So Paul's writings are really concerning with living in the kingdom rather than the kingdom itself. Do you understand? Are you sure you understand? So when you read Paul's writings, don't look primarily for the gospel. If you want to understand Jesus and if you want to understand his message, you must focus on Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. If you don't, you will end up being doctrine heavy and kingdom shallow. Are you understanding what I'm saying? This is very serious because I fell into the trap. I spent more time reading Paul's doctrinal letters than I did reading the mind of Jesus from his own words. And I became what they call in theology a Pauline apostle.
Yeah, Pastor. There's a clip on YouTube that we saw recently by the late Dr. Myles Munroe. And he was talking about Paul, Paul the apostle in the Bible, right? And he was cautioning Christians, especially, based on his own experience, that he used to be, first of all, a reader of Paul. He studied Paul's writings in the Bible, his letters and all. And at one point, he became almost a disciple of Paul, instead of a disciple of Jesus. These are his own words. Yeah, so he's cautioning us to read Paul carefully, quote unquote. But if you're looking for the gospel in its purest form, again, these are his words. We should focus on Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Specifically the words of Jesus. So he's saying, if you're looking for the words of Jesus, please don't read Paul. Read what Jesus said exactly. Or what is quoted to have said. That's my addition, okay? But if you're looking for Christian doctrine, Christian living, you can refer to Paul. Because in his argument, this is Dr. Myles Munroe, he seems to say Paul's letters were written to people who are already Christians. That's why he's always addressing the Corinthians, the Galatians, and so on and so forth. Okay? So he seems to say the gospel is, if you're looking for the gospel, don't go with what Paul said. Please go with what is called the Gospels. Yeah, the four books. What do you have to say about that?
Dr. Myles Munroe, the late.
Yeah. PhD.
PhD in what?
I don't know. Not a medical doctor. PhD. Continue, please.
Well, I don't know whether Dr. Myles Munroe was a theologian, first of all. I I have not researched on his academic papers where in which specifically is his doctorate. So I don't know whether he's a trained theologian. I knew him as a Pentecostal pastor, and I also knew him as a corporate bodies motivational speaker.
Are you still answering his question? Okay.
Because in philosophy, there's what we call the ethos.
Okay.
Who is speaking, the credibility of the speaker.
A PhD holder.
In what? Is it in theology? I just wanted really to find out. You people should research and tell me as I respond to him to get to know what he's talking about. Because, first of all, what he says is wrong. Let me be precise on that. Is wrong. In the 4 books that he has talked about, Matthew, Mark, John, and Luke, I only know one verse. You guys will help me. I only know one verse in those 4 books that mentions the term gospel. And I think it's in Mark chapter 1, verse 15.
The word gospel.
The word gospel, evangelion. That is number 1. Number 2, the 4 books, the first 4 books of the New Testament, are not the gospel. Let me be bold
That
enough.
is very
to say
important.
that. Yes, they are not the gospel. They are autobiographies of Jesus Christ. Okay? In fact, in the original text, they were written the katamathian or kata. It's according to Mark. According to Mark, the word gospel was added later. Even the title, the gospel according to Matthew. That word was just even an addition. It is not even in the writing. Okay, that is number 1. No, so number 2, it is only Paul. Okay, that and through his epistles that we get a thorough explanation of what the gospel is. Number 1. Number 2, Paul was not preaching to existing churches. He founded those churches he was preaching to.
The Gentile church.
This is the Gentile churches. The church in Galatia, the church in Ephesus, the church in Colossae. Those are churches founded by him. After preaching to them the gospel. After preaching the gospel. Their churches, these churches are products of his missionary journeys. Yeah. Where he went preaching the gospel.
Which he doesn't know.
Which he doesn't know. According to Dr. Munroe. They are only just parts where Paul is teaching people how to believe. For example, like the churches that have a crisis, like the churches in Corinthians. Those are the churches which have crises. That's where he preaches how to behave and what to do and what not to do. The rest, the epistle of Galatians, gospel. The epistle of Ephesians, gospel. The Romans, gospel. So which one? Titus, gospel. In which epistle of Paul doesn't he mention the word gospel, and isn't he teaching the gospel? So I don't know which Paul that Dr. Munroe was reading. I really do not know which Paul. Maybe that was a certain Paul in his...
The one of the Bible. So.
Which one?
According to Dr. Munroe,
yes.
you're a Pauline disciple.
No, I am not a Pauline disciple. I'm a disciple of Jesus Christ. But here is something that you need to understand. Okay? By the way, what is the gospel? Okay? What exactly is the gospel? The gospel is the good news. Good news. What is good news? And I think in this covenant series I will mention something about the gospel. But what is good news? Before, what qualifies good news as good, isn't it, is the bad news. So what is the bad news? Because you cannot find out what the good news is until you find out what the bad news is. Okay? The bad news is every human being under this body is destined to perish. and that is getting what you rightfully deserve. So the bad news is that everyone is going to die and perish eternally. Okay? And you have nothing to do about that. The good news is that there is a God who has done everything for you. If you don't want to die, all you need to do is to believe him. That is the good news. So it is a transition from the bad news to good news. That is the gospel. It is Apostle Paul, okay, that smuggles a social word into an ecclesia, into the church. And the social word is evangelion. Evangelion is translated as the good news. Now, what does evangelion mean? Evangelion was used in 1, 2, 3 aspects. I think 4. Okay? Evangelion was the good news brought by the doctor from an operating center, from the ward to the relatives of the sick. Okay? The doctor came and declared to you that your relative has survived. They have given you evangelion. That is good news. Okay? Hospital. Evangelion was used in the palace, that the king has assumed his seat, or anything good that has happened in the palace that is going actually to benefit the public. So there was that palace spokesman who came out and gave you the good news. Good news was a messenger from the battlefield, Evangelion, who came walking through the streets proclaiming, Evangelion, Evangelion. Then you got to know that your military or your army has defeated the enemy troops. So there is victory that has come. Evangelion, Evangelion, Evangelion. Then there was celebration. It is that very thing that Paul picks up and communicates to us, that after we were captured by the devil, the good news is that the power of God has redeemed us from the shackles of the devil. It is Paul that gives that explanation before any of the 4 gives that explanation. Number 1. Number 2, the 4 gospels are not written and were never in existence before Paul wrote his 13 epistles. Yes. They are written after. They are written after. Why were they written after? I will tell you why. Jesus spent 3.5 years with his 12 disciples. Okay? Majority of whom were fishermen. Majority of whom were what? Fishermen. Were fishermen. Now, excuse me. The 3.5 years that Jesus spent with his disciples, the 12, okay, did not understand the following. Number 1, clearly, who was this Jesus?
Did you understand the person they were with?
They did not. That is why even during their lifetime, he asked them, who do people say that I am? Then they said, they say you are Elijah, others say you are John the Baptist. Then he asked them, who do you say that I am? They all kept quiet. Then the bold Peter spoke out, and then Jesus said, it is not you. In other words, even Peter did not know. So they did not know who Jesus was. Lo and behold, the man died. Isn't it? But before he died, he used to tell them, I'm going to die. And they said, you cannot die. We will kill everyone. But you can't die. Then he asked them why. They told him, you are the Messiah. A Messiah cannot die. Then he said, I am the suffering Messiah that Isaiah talked about. No, you can't. The day he was captured, Peter had already a sword to defend his Lord. And indeed in the garden, he cut off the ear of that Roman, the palace security guy. Isn't it? Because for them, they thought that this is the Messiah of the sword who is going to fight and overthrow the Romans. So did they understand who Jesus was? They did not. They fled. Only Peter followed. Even the Peter who followed denied him 3 times. They did not. The man died, resurrected, came back and told them, now you go to all the nations and preach. Did they go? No. They went into the upper room chamber and spent there for 15 years. Waiting for what? Waiting for his coming. They started calling everyone to come there. They built a cult around the Jerusalem temple. So these are the preachers of the gospel. In the 4 gospels, what do they know about the gospel? Nothing. So Jesus was stuck with those who knew the gospel, according to Dr. Munroe. And he came, and he came, struck Paul down, and told him, you go and minister to me. It is where after Paul went and spent 9 years with Ananias. Ananias, eh? What's the name of that guy in Acts chapter 9? Is it Ananias or what? Ananias. Yes, Ananias. Spent 9 years. Ananias started telling him what they thought this guy had come to do. And then Paul started studying the history, the words of this guy, what he said. He actually says that I went even to Jerusalem and asked the brothers how these things are. What did Jesus tell us to do? I am here, he called me, but tell me what. And then he said, I found nothing. So he went, started praying and fasting and studying these things. Then he started now writing and explaining who was Jesus, why did he come, how are we saved, who are to be saved. And then he went into the Gentiles, started preaching and writing. After he had written the 13 episodes, these brothers also started now recording what they remember the man said, what they saw and heard. After Paul.
So they were challenged by Paul.
Yes, yes. They started writing. Peter, the gospel of Peter is the gospel of Mark. Mark writes for Peter. Okay? And Mark is a disciple of Paul.
John Mark.
Yeah, John Mark. He's the one who writes for Peter. Isn't it? Luke is a disciple of Paul, not one of the 12.
True.
Yes. So the disciple of Paul is in the 4 gospels. And you are saying that reading Paul is misleading. No, Dr. Munroe, what did Dr. Munroe study exactly?
Everybody have been reading about his. First of all, his PhDs were honorary. He never actually did an academic.
It was an honorary PhD. He's an honorary doctor. There you go.
He has a master's degree in administration.
In administration.
He has a bachelor of fine arts
in
education.
Dr. Munroe was an administrator who used corporate bodies principles, management principles, and then used some verses to defend those management principles. And he was a very eloquent man. And these are the people who are telling you about the Bible. And we theologians now look like witch doctors before them. You cannot refer to us. You refer to Dr. Munroe. Dr. Munroe. Do not listen to Paul. You read the 4 Gospels. Did Dr. Munroe know that Luke was a disciple of Paul?
Maybe let's talk about this as we finish. I still have about 4 minutes.
Yes.
The words that are attributed to Jesus in the so-called Gospels, can you also say something about them? Were they, of course, these guys saw, they heard, they saw, they touched. And like you've explained, they didn't understand what they even saw and touched and heard. So can we even trust what they wrote about this?
If someone says that Isaiah said, who is saying? Is it Isaiah saying, or someone is saying that Isaiah said?
Isaiah is quoting. Hey, somebody is quoting Isaiah to say.
If someone says that Isaiah said and he talks, who is saying? Is Isaiah talking or someone is saying what Isaiah said?
Someone is quoting Isaiah.
Someone is quoting. Then why are you so hyper with why do you think that is verbatim?
In the Bible, it's even in red. The text is in red.
It is okay. It can even be in pink.
In Arabic.
Isn't it? So why? Let me ask you. Why are the words of Jesus Christ in the New Testament in red? Amen? And the words of God in the Old Testament are not in red.
And yet Jesus is from God.
He is the same.
They say he's from God.
Okay, he's from God. So why don't we have Bibles, okay, where the words of God in the Old Testament are also in red? Because they are words of God. That says the Lord, isn't it? Why are those in red? Why do you have these in red? So these traditions that you guys fall for really are so weak. They are weak. It is the word of God all through. Even what Matthew says, isn't it? Should also be in red, because Matthew is not telling us about himself, is he? He's telling us about Jesus Christ. Everything should be in red then. So are you saying we should take this red ink more serious than the other text?
That's what the doctor is saying.
Doctor who?
Munroe, man.
The administrator, you people.
Fine answer to question.
So you listen to theologians, please. Please listen to theologians. Don't listen to administrators under the titles of pastor. Please. So it is. Let us be fair to Dr. Munroe. Okay, he does not qualify to challenge Paul. He doesn't qualify. Dr. Munroe was a layman. No, he was a layman. So please ask those who are anointed and appointed and educated in these matters. Do not listen to those motivational speakers who are under ecclesiastical titles. Thank you very much.